So what's up, YouTube? I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel about these two, or now three, free agency signings from the Giants, and I'm going to tell you exactly why I feel that way about these signings. So I got a chance to look some more at that James Bradberry tape. I saw a lot of games he played, watched him go against the entire NFC South, watched him against DeAndre Hopkins, saw him against the Packers a couple years ago, watched that game again that he played against us, against Odell. I think he was a rookie or a second-year player at that time. And I have a different opinion about him. He is a man press corner. He's a guy that matches our play style with DeAndre Baker, and if Sam Bill decides to ascend or stay healthy or, show up. So he is a man coverage corner. He's a bump and run corner. He's physical. He is willing to make tackles. He's not the best tackler, but he's willing. And overall, he's a pretty solid signing at that price point. After seeing his film, he's pretty much comparable to Byron Jones. Byron Jones has a little bit more top-end athleticism, but he doesn't really use that athleticism to make crazy interceptions or anything because he only has two. So I'm pretty satisfied with James Bradberry as far as a corner signing. I think I was just so bent up on getting Clowney or, getting that splash player that can really change the defense. So Bradberry I see as a number one corner. He's 100% a number one corner. The guy followed the entire NFC South's number one receivers. He followed them all over the field. And I kind of respect that from any type of corner, that if you're going to man up and you're going to follow them, he didn't shy away from any spot on the field they were at. If they lined up in a slot, Bradberry was there. If they were outside, Bradberry was there. So much respect to him. He's got dog, he's got competitiveness, and he followed around the entire NFC South. And you got Julio Jones, Michael Thomas, Mike. I can't think of his last name. The Buccaneers receiver. You got him. You got Chris Godwin, if you happen to get messed up on him. You got receivers all over that division, and he took the challenge. Mike Evans. That's what I was thinking of. So you got those receivers all over that division, and you got great quarterbacks in that division too. Jameis Winston, maybe he's not a great quarterback, but the guy threw for 5,000 yards. So that's something to consider. So Bradberry, bump and run corner, solid. I think he has the potential to take the next step to being an elite corner. We'll see. Byron Jones, pretty much comparable, and I thought he had that chance to take that next step, but I definitely think that Bradberry has that next chance as well. And that's just how I feel about the Bradberry pick. I feel optimistic about it. It's a 3-year deal. If he's absolute garbage, we'll get out after 2. And I know that this guy's floor is he'll just be a solid number one corner. He'll never be horrible. We won't be pissed off that we signed him because he gave up 300 yards or 200 yards to somebody. So, solid signing. Moving on. Blake Martinez at middle linebacker. You got the guy for $10 million a year. Now, the $10 million isn't the problem because it doesn't necessarily kill our cap space. But the thing is, once you pay the guy $10 million, you're committing that he's going to have to be a starter. He's going to have to be a starter. So you got Ryan Connolly, who's a better version of him, who's faster and more explosive than him, who's younger than him, makes way less money, who is much better in coverage from what we've seen. You got David Mayo, who, believe it or not, is more explosive and faster than this guy that's going to make $10 million a year. And all he does is stop the run. And Blake Martinez, when you look at his tape, I've looked at the tape. I've looked at individual games. I've looked at a lot of his stuff. And he's not that guy. He's not the guy that's going to run down and knock somebody out in the backfield. He gets his tackles down the field. He gets his tackles, 155 tackles. He gets all of his tackles 5 yards, or he'll jump and hug on a pile when the running back is getting stuffed. He'll jump onto the pile. He'll get beat by a running back or a tight end, and he'll just run after them and jump in them and dive at their feet and get a tackle. But that's 25 yards down the field. The guy can't cover, and the guy really isn't that dominant against the run if you look at the film. PFF, complete garbage. PFF is just completely misleading with their stats, because there's no way you can tell me that guy ever was an elite running back or an elite linebacker, excuse me. You can't ever tell me that he was an elite linebacker like Pro Football Focus tried to paint him out to be a couple of years ago, because the guy, he doesn't have any explosiveness at a position that's really an impact position in today's league. So we're not getting Isaiah Simmons at this point, because he has to start. You can't completely give up on Ryan Connolly, and if we do, that's kind of a waste, because Ryan Connolly could have just come back and been our second linebacker. We don't know how he'll come back, but he could have came back, or even David Mayo, or even Christian Kirksey, or even a lot of people could have came back and just been our second linebacker that actually has some explosiveness, that aren't liabilities when they're on the field. So I don't like the signing, and I'm not just spouting this out of my mouth. I looked at the film. I don't look at highlights usually just to find out what a player does. By the way, it's going to be really hard to find Blake Martinez highlights. I'm trying to put together a highlight tape for the free agents, and Blake Martinez is really hard to find more than a minute of highlights for. So he's not explosive. And it's not just about the pass game. He's not explosive. He's not. He's not that player, and he's not worth $10 million a year. He is. I put him in the same category as David Mayo. I really do. I really honestly do. And that's just how I feel about it. You guys can feel how you want to feel about it, but Blake Martinez, he's not that guy. He's not. So Will Toilolo, I think his name isn't Will. His name is Levine Toilolo. We signed that guy at tight end. That's a depth signing. That guy is like 6'8", 270 pounds or something crazy like that. He's a beast. He's huge. He's going to help block for Saquon. That's what we need. Just more people to come in and help block for Saquon. A tight end that's really specializing in blocking is going to help our offensive tackles out a lot better. He'll be able to chip. He'll be able to, just help in pass blocking or run blocking just in general. He's going to probably be the third tight end, but you come out in jumbo packages or you need a tight end to block on short yardage, he's your guy. So I don't expect his deal to be that lucrative. But solid move. We had to replace Red Ellison. So I don't really have much to say about the rest, about Toilolo, because he's a tight end and he's pretty much our third string guy. And I have no issues with that signing. I actually think it's a good signing. Guys, I do not hate Dave Gettleman at all. I'm not just picking everything he just takes and just saying it's a bad signing. These are my honest opinions. If I had to give grades, I'd say Bradberry is a B+ with the opportunity to be an A if he continues to grow and continues to get better. I see Blake Martinez as honestly a D or F, because Blake Martinez doesn't really help at all. I could see if he was explosive in the first and second down and he was able to run guys down. I mean, I saw Joe Flacco break out to the left and run, and he couldn't even run down Joe Flacco before he got to the first down. So imagine what happens when we have to play against Lamar or even Carson Wentz, even Dwayne Haskins or Dak Prescott. Imagine what happens then when he has to run one of those guys down. It's going to be absolutely horrible. You thought that Alec Ogletree was bad. This guy is literally the most. I mean, he's less explosive than Alec Ogletree with all his injuries. So keep that in mind. I'm not just spewing this. I watched it with my own eyes. So there's no confusing me. There's no telling me anything different. So you guys can tell me your opinions, but that's pretty much what I'm seeing. Now, if he comes to New York and he does something completely different, then I'll change my mind. I'll say I was wrong. But what I see now, he's not that guy. So those are my thoughts for the Toilolo pick. I'd probably give him a B, just a solid signing, something that you need to do, something that helps the team. So Diggy546, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. You guys tell me what you think of the free agency class so far.